The Art of Leadership Network.
Well, hey, leaders, welcome to the LeadCulture podcast. I'm your host, Jenni Catron, founder and CEO of the Foresight Group, where we cultivate healthy leaders who lead thriving teams. This podcast is for leaders who want more than good intentions. You want clarity, confidence, and practical tools to lead well in the real world. Each week, I'll help you navigate the challenges of leadership and culture with insights that you can actually put into practice. We'll explore what it takes to lead yourself well, because how you show up shapes everything, from your decisions to your team's health and even your momentum. My goal is to equip you to lead with purpose, strengthen your culture, and create environments where people and organizations flourish. You'll hear honest conversations, real stories, and proven frameworks, along with insights from leaders committed to doing the work of leading well. Whether you're leading a team, an organization, or growing as a leader, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. All right, friends, today I am joined by a longtime friend, Tyler Dickerhoof. We have known each other for, at this point, I can't even remember or keep count. Tyler, you're better at this than I am.
Several years. I'm going to say probably 4 or 5, like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a bit, and it's been just a privilege to get to know you. Friends, Tyler is a leadership mentor. He's an entrepreneur, and he's founder of Impact Driven Leader. And he has a new book coming out called The Things We Hide. What you hide controls you. What you face transforms you. And so we're going to dive into that conversation today. And when I talked to you in the intro about we have to lead ourselves well, this is one of those conversations that is going to key into that principle of leading ourselves well, because how we lead ourselves impacts everything else. So, Tyler, welcome to the podcast. Fill us in on, so I gave the really brief bio. So maybe give everybody a little picture of your world.
Oh, man. Well, first off, thank you. As a multiple-time guest on my podcast, I'm so grateful to be back here with you. And, you have a different background this time, which I love. It's great. Evolving, instead of the tea house vibe. I know it's a different place. It's tea house vibe in your house. Man, I'm grateful. And as you share that, right, you go through your opening, which, oh my goodness, it's like you've read for books or something. I mean, it's just so clean and precise, and just, I love it. Just the enunciation and the pausing, and just, what do I want to tell about myself? Honestly, I'd love to hear more of what you have thought about me, because that gives me a perspective I don't even know. Understanding the things that we hide, the name of my book, and kind of that whole topic. I'll give you this. So I am I would say a leadership student, and have become because I needed to grow and transform. From the Midwest, another Midwesterner, grew up on a dairy farm in Ohio. I was a nutritionist for dairy cows for 13 years, and then got into the world of network marketing, which really became the crucible for leadership, allowed me to sit at the feet of John Maxwell and so many other great people. And kind of that's where in a bit and piece, those people are where our world crossed, and now so many relationships. But part of that journey was really understanding and appreciating what is leadership and how to lead, and, not really understanding it. But I found it was more of the challenges in my leadership. What was I doing that hampered my ability to influence others? And as I really went through the transformation journey, I was understanding, it was the things I was hiding. And it wasn't intentional hiding. It was the ways of hiding my fears and my insecurities. And, it was really, I'm going to, be intense. I'm going to be, insensitive. I'm going to just choose not to deal with things, because that was an easier way to kind of deal with my fears and insecurities than rather actually have to face it. So, yeah.
So good. There's so much I want to already start diving into.
Okay. I mean, I wanted you to just dive in, because I want to know what you think. I mean, you've known me. You've spoken at my event.
I have.
You've watched me. So I'd love to know from you, is like, man, as you hear and you see this, and now I'm turning the tables. I'm being podcast.
I know you're like turning into podcast host on me.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, but it's just me being curious, like how we
Right.
talk, right? Just tell me
Yeah.
what you see because I can't see it.
Well, I love it so much. Well, the thing that I appreciated as we've gotten to know each other, first of all, we've got all those fun, like the Midwest connections, the hunger to grow and learn as a leader, the facing our fears and insecurities and the things that hold us back. And, you know this, my first book, Clout,
Yeah,
talks all
loved it.
about the
Yes.
clout killers, the things that really inhibited my leadership. And so that was such a growth journey for me. So I think I've always appreciated about you that same hunger to say, I need to know what I don't know. I need to understand the things that are holding me back. I would be curious from you. I'll say these things before I jump into my questions. Um, Big heart for your family. Like I've gotten to meet your wife and she's amazing. You guys are both phenomenal leaders and business owners, and just how you even do a lot of that work together is just really fun and inspiring. You do lead in an amazing event, which we'll talk about more, but for leaders. And you just don't stop. You're just committed to constantly learning and growing. And so those are the things that are top of mind. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'll find more as we go. I would love to know from you, just to kind of kickstart this conversation, what was the inflection point that made you realize there's some things I'm not aware of that are actually hindering or holding me back from leading well?
God.
Hmm.
God did it.
What would that look like?
Yeah, I was probably fuzzy on the dates, but I'm going to say about 10 years ago, give or take.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'd left the dairy nutrition space. My wife and I had gotten involved in network marketing. And in that as well, we invested in some real estate. We owned a gym. And we owned this gym with not the intention of running it, but just investors. Well, we found out quickly we were running it. And we had some young trainers, college graduates, pretty young, great people, like phenomenal people, the people that you want working in your organization. And it was right around Christmas. And one of the trainers, he got sick. He called off. It was like, okay, no big deal. And then part of his responsibility was to clean the gym. And he couldn't do that. So I was like, okay, I'll go clean the gym. I can run him up, right? And I show up at the gym and he's there working out with his friends. And it was like, oh, well, yeah, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You're sick? That's fine. I get it. But don't lie to me. And it was pretty much kind of then that whole piece. And it was like, you either get with the program or get gone. Like, and it was very much that hard, my intensity. And so it was in that period. And I go to the gym, and a different gym, because if you're a gym owner, you can't work out at your gym. You go to another gym so you can get away from your business.
Yeah.
So I'm at the gym. I'm in the locker room, get done working out. It's about this time in the morning. And I start drinking my protein shake. And I hear God say, this is how you deal with it. And it was very much in a season of growth. I'd gone through the Maxwell Executive Circle. I'd first time ever going through a 360 review. And the response that I got from people is, it's all about you. Like,
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not really I'm intense, right? I have high expectations for myself. And what I didn't understand is that spilled over on everyone else. I don't know if you can relate, Jenny, right? We've talked about this a time or two, right? And so it was this first time I ever recognized that. And these are coworkers, these are friends, these are peers. This is like people saying this resoundingly is it's all about you. Like we like you, like you have friends, but man, it's all about you. And I was like,
yeah, ouch.
It's not. I don't have like these personal aspiration goals. Like our friend Dana, who I got to luckily be on her show, she asked me, it's like, Tyler, you have a goal? I'm like, yeah, but I feel weird. I'm not a goal person. I do have a goal with this book. I'd love for it to be a USA Today bestseller. Yes, but if it isn't, does that? No, it doesn't. All right, so let me get back to the story. And I'm sitting there and God's like, yeah, that's how you deal with things. And all of a sudden in that moment, I'm transported back to a moment when I was 14.
Mm.
And when I was 14, I had a younger brother die in a farming accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove over him. He was 3.
So heartbreaking.
And after the emergency personnel showed up, and I'm being interrogated, for lack of a better term, by the sheriff.
Sure.
And he's sitting on the hood of his car right in front of me. And I'm standing as I'm looking at the camera, and he's asking me questions. And he's just like, this and this and this. I'm like, it was an accident. It was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
It was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes on for a bit. And I'm like, it was an accident. And I finally get to the point, I'm done. I'm done answering your questions.
Yeah.
I'm done. And I'm like, I'm going to go in that barn and I'm going to milk those cows. And if you want to come with me, great. And if not, bye. And it was in that moment in the gym, I'm transported back there because that's how I dealt with things. I just put my head down and push. And this wall of intensity that I leaned against because that was my solace.
Sure.
If somebody's not going to value me, if someone's not going to appreciate me, if someone's not going to respect me, I will just get out of my way. I will bulldoze right through you. And so it was in that moment that, that all of those things leading up, but it was that point sitting in the locker room when all of a sudden God goes, you got some growing to do.
Ouch. You
got to face this stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point in a lot of our businesses, and Kelly would tell me, my wife, man, you're hard. I'm like, I don't know. All right, fine. Be an a-hole sometimes, but gets results.
Yeah.
And I found myself, like, a lot of my relationships, I don't think I'm different. I don't think I'm a hard person to build relationships, but I also understand that it can get to a point where it's too much. Like, that intensity is too much. And I found that in our work relationships. And it was often like, people respect me, but yet, you're too much. And it wasn't too much in a way that I was making people stretch and saying, we're doing this together. It was too much because I was a bulldozer. Yeah. And it was the expectation level was implied that I wanted them to do what they couldn't do, but it was just that expectation of myself. I have to prove it to myself. And so the work ethic, the intensity is where I established my value. And that's my biggest insecurity.
Yeah.
Is I have value? So
that's huge. That's huge. And was it, you were accomplishing a lot, but was the cost relationally starting to catch up with you? Was that like or were you even aware of that? Was it like you're just getting stuff done and people would come and go in and out of your world? Or were they just putting up with it?
Yeah, all the above.
All the above, a little bit of everything.
All the above. Have you ever read the book Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker?
I have. It's been a bit, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that book, that transformed my life in a way, because whether it's in my nutrition business, in our network marketing business, other businesses, we kept hitting this earning ceiling. Hitting this earning ceiling. And it was kind of funny because it was the same ceiling for both businesses. And my wife and I both read that book and it was like, oh, okay. And so started to value that, I do have more worth than whatever that number was. And then at that point, we were hitting another ceiling. And, whether it's the John Maxwell law of the lid or whatever, hitting another ceiling. And at that point, I was coming quickly to understand that it was more of how I not valued other people, because I think value people, but how I expressed that value to them. And what I would say is how I really practiced empathy. I'm going to share something. Last week we were together in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And we had an amazing session with Liz Bohannon.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it's a lot of things that you and I talk about, right? This idea of just got to quit putting up all the sun.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a couple of our friends right after that moment, Lindsay and Jackie. And I met somebody else and they're like, oh, Tyler, you're such an encourager. You're so empathetic. And these are people that have only known me the last couple of years, like you the last couple of years. And I'm like, people would not have said that about me 10 years ago.
I mean, that's got to make you proud. You've got to feel good about that.
Yes, because I think it's always been there. But it was too busy hiding.
Sure.
I was too busy not being sure of myself. I don't know if I write about this in the book. I tell it in the master. So if you buy or pre-order the book, you get the master class and actually recorded like amazing stuff. And one of it is the stories that aren't in the book.
Oh, that's fun.
So I'm going to tell one of those stories. Can I tell one of those stories?
Please. That'd be great.
So you mentioned my wife being a phenomenal leader, and that she is very influential, and has had tremendous success within the network marketing space, and got started in it, had no intention ever, and just like, oh, I can do this, and I believe in the products. Oh, sure, why not? And makes 6 figures in 6 months. First 6 months, never done network marketing, and ends up winning an award trip. So we go on this award trip. It happens to be in San Diego at the Coronado Island.
Nice place.
Yeah. And I make the biggest fool of myself ever.
I don't think I've heard this story, so I'm excited about this one.
Oh, you're gonna appreciate my wife even more. The fact that this fall will have been married 21 years.
That's amazing.
So everyone is like, oh my goodness, Kelly just, and she'd used social media in a period. I mean, this is 15 years ago now, when it hadn't really been utilized a lot.
Yeah.
And she's just getting all these accolades and appreciation. And I'm sitting there. And at this point, I had run a nutrition business and just not understood why I couldn't make it grow. I then took a job with a commodity consulting business. I'm growing that business, but yet I'm just like, what value do I have? I don't know, like my own self-worth. I don't know what I'm good at because it's just frustrating. It's hard. And so we're walking back to our room at the end of the evening, and we come across all the corporate staff for this company. And I'd never met them. Kelly had actually met them at another event before. Of course, she is this like rock star in the company, and they're like, she's like the one. Well, they're like, Tyler, you got to be so proud. And I go, yeah, you know what? I think she's getting it. I don't know if she burst into tears in that moment or shortly after. That's all she wanted me to be proud of her.
Yeah.
And not was it intentional?
No, but you were fighting your own insecurities, right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've all been there.
I'm like,
we've all done that.
Yeah. And so that outward expression of, man, I do tell a story. You know what's fun about Christmas Eve service? To me, the favorite part of Christmas Eve service is the candles.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I'm not an electric candle person. I think that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
And so it's the actual wax candle. And when I was little, you'd hold on to the candle, you'd make the thing melt. Now they have better wax, so it doesn't do that. It sucks because I always used to like try to make it into a J. You hold on to it long enough, heats up, turns into a J. And the great thing that tradition teaches us? When one candle lights another, it doesn't lose its light.
That's good. Yep.
And unfortunately, at that moment in my life, when Kelly and I were there, I was trying so hard to magnify my light to prove that I had value that I was inadvertently telling her, if I give you light, I'm going to lose my own.
Right. Gosh, Tyler, that's a big deal. Thanks for sharing that story. Yeah. Because we can all feel that. I had a situation recently where somebody else who was speaking on a similar topic, all of a sudden it's all the comparison, right? It's all the
I know what you're talking about.
All the fears, all the insecurities. Should I even be talking about this? Like, are they better than I am? Did I agree with everything they said? How do I diminish everything they said? Right? Like all of a sudden you find, and that didn't go spew out to anybody else, but it happened in here, right? Of all of those fears and insecurities starting to sabotage, making me doubt everything I'm doing. And you go time out, right? Because I've fortunately had enough, done enough work, there's always more work to do, but I've done enough work to kind of catch the spiral and go, okay, wait a minute. That's crazy thinking, right? Like to your point, you don't diminish somebody else's light. Like one light doesn't diminish the other one. But yeah, it's just amazing how that shows up often, right? Do you find that leaders?
Whoa. You asked
you
the question. I want to
that?
go back to that moment. You got to sit in my moment. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's what I know as a friend, right? Same topic. Completely different perspective.
Right.
It's kind of this idea when you allow yourself to make those stories up, it's always worse than what it is.
Totally.
And I think, I get what you're saying. And then when I sat there, I was like, okay. But then I also understand, man, it's two totally different audiences.
Mm-hmm.
It totally is, right? And it comes back to the same idea of you and I, or me and that could be on the same team doing the same thing. We could say the exact same words. It's going to be totally different.
Right. Yep.
Because of what we've gone through and how we've gone through things. And it comes back to, you know what the greatest thing about Christmas Eve service is? It starts with one light.
Yeah.
And then goes to two lights.
Yep.
And the room starts very dark.
Yep.
And you know what happens by the end of the lighting segment? The whole room is
lit. Yep.
So what I have, whether somebody have asked me, why the timing in the book? And it's like, maybe there's more of this. I needed to be grown up enough to say, man, I could have 16 other people talk about the exact same thing in my book. Like I just did a podcast with a lady who very similar, and other person's like, oh, like you're saying the same things. I've never read this. Jenni, when I read your book, your book Clout, maybe year and a half ago, I don't know when I read it. I'm like, do I even need to write my book?
Oh, right.
You talk about it all.
But you absolutely do, because we need your perspective on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I've understood, and encouraging you too, because we all know this, right? If more people are saying the same thing, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And that person can go into it. This is how my brain works. You know this. It's like John. John's got to go before Jesus. Is one greater than the other? Well, in God's eyes, really, yes, but no. Because we're all children of God.
Right.
Doesn't mean we're just, no, I'm not getting there. But you know what? It's like you, the other person, it doesn't matter who goes first at that point, because you're spreading a message of people need to understand the value of culture and how treating and respecting people and caring about people is the most important thing you can do in your organization. It does. Right. Kind of like this. Sometimes people, I know this isn't a faith podcast, but we share faith. I get so frustrated. I grew up Lutheran, go to a church, which I think technically is Assemblies of God. I don't even know. Right. But it's this whole idea where people start fighting over denomination.
Right. Yeah.
It's like saying, I love football, and the only team you could ever cheer for are the Green Bay Packers. Now just stop and realize there are painful people in existence that are Browns fans because that's their tradition and that's what they know. And as much as they're like, yeah, it's kind of boring, there's solace in it. Not all of us can be the perennial world champions, Super Bowl champions, like the Pack.
I love it. I
mean, to me, it's that same thing. And so I come back to you. It's like, Jenni, you keep blazing your path, and that other person keeps blazing their path. And hopefully there's 12 other people that do too, because finally people will start being treated better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good.
See how that turns into like a 10-minute.
I know I didn't mean to make that a coaching.
So what was your question? Because you had a question.
Well, but what I don't remember even what the question was there, but the acknowledgement of that, even as we grow in our self-awareness and do this work, we still have those moments. I'm curious for you. Do you find that leaders
keep going? Yeah, I'm with you.
You're with me. Do you find that leaders are even aware that they have fears and insecurities, or are they just trying to pretend they don't have them? Right? Like, what are you noticing?
Both.
Because you coach
Both.
a lot of leaders. Is it like they're totally unaware that these things are hidden?
Both.
Yeah.
And I think the unawareness comes from so many years of hiding it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We just put more spackle and more tape and more Band-Aids over top of that thing. You forget there's even a wound there.
Right.
And I think part of that comes from, and I write about the 4 walls: intensity, isolation, inactivity, and insensitivity. And we start building those walls and they become so entrenched that we're used to leaning against them that we forget we're even doing it. But at some point in time, we did it and our body starts to trigger that response. For example, you tell the story about when you are sitting in the room and you're hearing it. Now, all of a sudden, you start to have all those thoughts, right? And if somebody comes up or maybe someone who just did not understand and they say something, right? Maybe someone does it, not intentional, like, oh man, you guys, how do you respond? And if you like, oh, thank you, and you walk away, isolate, right? If you go to the point of like, well, no, that, you start to justify, that intensity. You may not even have realized you did it, but your fears and insecurities drove you to respond.
Right. Yep.
And so there may be a moment where you understand, like, you can feel it bubbling up. You can feel it like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm going to respond. And that was part of like my journey and understanding. And the title of the book's The Things We Hide. You've written a few books. You understand it. Maybe not the title. That was never the title I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like, excuse me, my insecurity is showing. Because the ability to get to that spot to where you recognize your fears and insecurities and you come to that moment and somebody comes up to you and says, oh, Jenni, really? And you're like, yeah, sorry. I like you just shared with me. That ability, that friendship, that vulnerability, that understanding that, hey, he gets it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I've had those moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That awareness only comes from the moment of saying, man, why isn't this working? Why do people respond the way they do? And that evolution and growth and the opportunity to say, yeah, it shouldn't be this hard. Why is it so hard? I gotta dig a little bit deeper. There's someone that shared in my community. It's like, man, I read all the books. I went to all the events. I did all the things. And it just, oh yeah, because that's just a Band-Aid put over the wound. You got to clean that sucker out. And even worse than that, it's kind of like I don't know if this has ever happened to you. It's happened to me a few times. You go put on a jacket, maybe you haven't worn in a while, and you put your arm in it and there's like like something in there that scratches you, right? Just imagine that. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, then you go on and you take it off. And then the next day you put on the jacket again and it scratches you again. And you're like, ah, and it keeps doing it and you don't do anything to change it. Finally, you like figure out why it's scratching your arm instead of saying, oh, I scratched my arm. Let me put a Band-Aid on that. Let me put a Band-Aid on it. And it's that response to the insecurity, fear and insecurity. Let me put a Band-Aid on it. Let me put a Band-Aid on it instead of saying, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
What's going on? And so that ask about, are leaders aware? They're aware, but they're hiding from it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And here's the other side of the table. So is everyone else. Everyone knows when those walls show up. Everyone knows. They know.
Yeah.
When you're being intense with your team, love you. Understand, I'm the same. They all know. They all know. Right? Chris knows. They all know. Good. But at the same point, do you say, that's just the way it is? Or you're like, oh, sorry, guys. It was a little too intense. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. Catch yourself.
My rubber band's a little tight. Like you talked about sitting in the room. It's like, hey, insecurity, I see you. I know you're here. You're going to be here. Yeah. You're going to be here. One of the lessons that I learned reading Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker has a book, Daily Drucker. I was given it as a gift in 2008. I have no idea who gave it to me. It's inscribed on the first page. Cannot read it. I don't know who it is. I read it about 5 years ago. Such a great learning lesson. And one of the things I learned in there in what Peter Drucker calls the corkscrew effect. It's like, whatever you go through in life, you're just going to come back around.
Ooh.
Now, the challenge is, are you higher or lower?
Right.
And now let's talk about insecurity.
Yeah. Yep.
Jenni, y- you came to grips with an insecurity that day. Great.
Yep.
Guess what happens? You're going to get through that. You're going to process that. Well, then all of a sudden, the next book, the next whatever, great advancement that you have to bring to people, going to have to do it all over again.
Yep.
And that's just the reality. It's like we can come to grips with our insecurity and think, okay, I got through that. It's like this idea at one point, it's like you can overcome your fears. No, you can't.
No.
No, they'll always be there.
Yeah.
Just how do you deal with them?
How do you deal with them? Yeah. And are you taking what you've learned and dealing with them quicker, better, however you want to define that?
Are you reframing your mindset and belief? That is, that determines how you're going to respond to your fears and insecurities.
Right.
Are you doing the work to affect your beliefs, which drive your thoughts, leading to your actions and results? All of that is mindset. Are you affecting that mindset? Are you surrounding yourself with people where you could go to someone that loves and cares about you and say, hey, Tyler, as I do, man, this is how I'm feeling. Yeah, I understand. I could see that. But you know what? It isn't even, you guys are in the same orchard, but you're Honeycrisp and he's Cosmos.
Right.
You're both apples, but you're totally different varieties.
Yeah.
Different tastes, whatever.
Yep.
One goes in apple,
great.
Yeah.
Well, and I love what you just said there about, even being able to have a friend or a place where you can just go acknowledge that and not, and just process it. So good. I want you to go back to the 4 walls because we walked through them really quickly, but I'd love for you to define those a little bit more. And then how are you coaching leaders to address them? Yeah. So unpack that for us because I think there's so much gold in those.
I created an assessment. It's in the book.
Brilliant. Yep.
It's called the Insecurity Impact Assessment. And it was a process that I didn't even really know, but I had, but you got a book, you got to put an assessment in, right? Okay.
It's true.
And so what it is a series of questions that help you identify how do you respond to things. Intensity is, do you put your head down and push? Do you just you get with me or get gone? It's that thing. It is the, our business, especially, high level, sales business, have such a love affair with intensity, but it absolutely destroys cultures.
Yeah. Yep.
You're the, and so it's this intensity is I have to prove and just drive faster. That's intensity. Okay. It's like the studio lights. They're bright. You don't want them at 3 a.m. Okay. Time and place. The next one is inactivity. I know what to do. I know I need to talk to an employee because it's just we're not on the same page. They've drifted, but you can replace this. I need to go talk to an employee. It's not working. We probably need to let them go. But man, I'm not sure how they're going to take it. And I'm really afraid that they're going to sue us. I'm really afraid that we're going to have to get into maybe they'll just quit. Maybe they'll just, maybe they'll just walk away on their own. It's inactivity. The next one is isolation. Is when you feel challenged, when you feel frustrated, when all of a sudden you put in your earbuds and you walk away. When there's a tough moment, you say you're in a conference room, you're sitting and you're listening to someone else talk about the same topic. And you decide, I'm just going to walk out of the room. I'm going to go down to my hotel room and I'll just come back later. Yep. The isolation. It's not even, I know how to do it. No, it's just, I'm not going to deal with it. Yeah. I'm not even going to think about it. Then the last one is insensitivity. And, this, we saw so much during COVID, and it was kind of like, if you don't come to the office and put your butt in seat, you can't get the job done. And it's not having empathy. It's, one of the other ways a recent podcast guest of mine described it is when you stop listening to the perspective of others. When you're just like, yeah, thanks, next. And it's so those 4 walls, and as I've understood, they show up in a lot of different ways. Yeah. And what's kind of neat, analogy-wise, the 4 walls build a house. feel safe in there.
Oh, that's good.
At the same point, the four walls have corners. So I could be really intense, but I could go into the corner and be intense and insensitive. Doubly, sure right? Could. Or I could go into the corner and I can be intense and inactive, meaning it's all push or nothing. Or I could be inactive and isolate, meaning I don't want to do anything, or I'm just gone, the abdication. Or I can isolate, be insensitive, which I see that happening, right? And one of the things that's very interesting is you write a book and all of a sudden you learn more, right? And there's two things that I learned this one last week, but the I'm going to share the second one is that inactivity and isolation are very internal. That's an internal response to our insecurities. Oh, it's me. I'm not good enough. Should I even be doing this? One of my insensitivity and intensity, those are outward. They don't even know what they're talking about. It's such the problem of someone else. They didn't book me to speak because they don't like. Can I say something? They didn't book me because I'm a woman and he's a man.
Right.
It's the external problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Really? Stop. It's none of the above. But so that's one element of the four walls is there's two of them are very external. The other two are very internal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful.
I got one more.
Okay.
The narcissist walls are lined with mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Everything looks good. It's all, I'm fine. It's everything outside, right? So they can respond with intensity and sensitive, all those things that's lined with mirrors. To be a healthy person, those walls are all windows.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
And so that gets into another one of the things that I learned through this process is the mirror is a liar.
Right.
Everyone says, look in the mirror. You're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see that you look great. It's like looking at the picture, oh, that looks good. And then all of a sudden you flip it around, and take a picture of yourself and oh, I'm that ugly? My ears are that misshapen? I didn't realize my face looked like that. It's yeah, that's what everyone sees. That's how I see you. And so we can look in the mirror. It's yeah, I'm good with that person. That's great. And, those were my intentions.
Mm-hmm.
The window, well, that shows your actions.
Right.
So coming back to what you said earlier and what we were talking about is, can I go to someone and say, hey, what do you see through the window?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see that I can't see?
Yeah, that's good.
That ability to have, now you got to be able to do that in comfortable situations.
Yep.
And you got to do that in uncomfortable situations.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even talked about this, and it's in the book. It's called The Circle of Ownership. You're going to have people that are going to be what I call dotted lines. They're going to be like, Jenni, you suck. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have 6 other people like, oh my goodness, Jenni, you are so amazing. Unbelievable. Okay. As we've learned from it, the truth is in the middle.
Right.
Do you put yourself around a lot of dotted line people or a lot of full circle people? Well, you got to do both.
Yeah. Yep.
Because another one analogies is our windows are like windshields.
Mm-hmm.
And you drive down the road and you're going to have instances like what happened to you, and that's a bug splat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You get so many bug splats and you're like, I can't see, and I'm driving by mirrors. And when I'm driving by mirrors, I don't see the road in front of me and I crash into things.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now you're a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
What's even worse than crashing and breaking your windshield is when you get so bad that you crash and your mirrors break.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened to me.
Mm.
That happened to me in November of 2008 when I lost a client who represented 25% of my business the day before Thanksgiving.
Ouch.
And it was a mirror shattering moment.
Mm.
That's why when I, 3 years later, was meeting the executive suite at that company,
mm-hmm.
that I was trying so hard to establish my value because I still had a broken mirror.
Yeah.
I had a broken mirror because I didn't think I had value. Because when my client fired me 3 years before, I did not understand what I was good at, what I could actually serve people and do.
Mm. Yeah. So good. So many leaders can relate, Tyler, to that. I know we're coming tight on time, and I'd love for you, just as briefly as you can, help us understand, what does it cost a leader, their team, their culture, if we don't address the things we hide?
Everything.
Mm.
Everything. Now that can show up as, a contract here, business there.
Mm-hmm.
That could be everything. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. Maybe you have. And as we're recording, I just saw it drop the other day. Carrie Newhoff's podcast with Carl Lentz.
Oh, I haven't listened yet either.
I haven't. But I would say not addressing your fears and insecurities can lead to something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm so so grateful that he is speaking, hopefully talking about it. We have a good friend. He's going to hopefully come on my podcast. He had to fire his assistant. His assistant is himself, because I've been asking for a while. Jeremy Foster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Some of your audience may know who Jeremy is. Your fears and insecurities will cost you everything.
Yeah.
Your church, your platform, everything.
Yep. Family. Yep.
So it can be minimal, and you can think it's not a big deal. It's like one of the things we heard: gradually, then suddenly.
Yep.
And so the things that it costs is most usually relationships.
Yeah.
But guess what? Business transformation is just relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this idea of like, it always seems hard. Why does it always have to be this hard? It's because you're being ruled by your fears and insecurities.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. You're going to have moments of hard, right? You're going to go around that corkscrew.
Yeah.
It's the cycle of fulfillment. You're fulfilled. You're confused because it's not going so well. Now you're really frustrated. Oh, that'll come back to round 2 fulfillment. Now, granted, confusion, frustration, flop. The worst thing people do in that period, they get distracted.
Mm.
So we go from fulfillment, everything is great, right? Jenni, your book is selling. I've told you how much your book is selling. You're speaking at events. You're doing all those things. And then you come into a room and you're like, oh, I'm confused. Right. Do you let that frustrate you? Or do you get distracted and say, oh, I can't speak about this anymore because they are, so I got to go speak about something else? That distraction off-ramp will never bring you back to fulfillment. And so what do our fears and insecurities cost us? Ever getting back to fulfillment.
Oh, yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. All right, Tyler.
You say so.
You have given us so much great just insight. Thanks for your vulnerability and the work you've done to lead yourself well, and then to be able to bring this resource via your book to all of us. So the question for you as we wrap up is, where can we connect with you, buy the book, find out about your event? Give us all the things before we wrap.
TylerDickerhoof.com. There you can see a lot of my stuff. YouTube, the Tyler Dickerhoof Show is my podcast. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, mostly Instagram and LinkedIn. The book, thethingswehidebook.com. Right now, pre-order. The published date is June 9th. I know somebody else that kind of maybe got to a point that they slid back their published date a little bit because, so I've learned from people like you, this is okay to do. So we're doing that June 9th. And so get your orders in. Buy that. You can buy when you buy pre-order, oh my goodness, you can get the masterclass where I tell some more of those stories like I told. There's a few more that are awesome. I'd say even more tear-jerking to just share that. The next thing is my event, which I had an amazing speaker last year who spoke about culture, Jenni Catrone. So it is idlsummit.com, May 7th and 8th, Spokane, Washington. I'm so blessed, the speakers that have graced me with their presence. This year we have another phenomenal AI expert, Nikki Barua, body language expert, Abby Morano, and then the head coach of USA Wheelchair Rugby, Joe Delagrave, who shares the story of getting into wheelchair rugby after being paralyzed at 18. So,
wow. That's going to be amazing. So yeah, we'll link show notes we'll put the links in the show notes.
There you go.
So y'all can check all of that out. Do go get the book, get the masterclass, buy the bundle so you can.
Yes, one last thing. You can buy the bundle. You can if you buy the bundle, if you buy 25, 50, or 100 books, you will get a ticket to the event, as well as be a part of my community. You get a few extras as well. I'm offering one of those bundles a 90-minute workshop.
Brilliant. Yeah. So friends, go check that out. But more importantly, if this episode resonated with you, and I'm sure that it did, then I want to encourage you to share it with a friend and then have the conversation about what you heard today, right? Just that place of vulnerability to say, hey, I listened to this and here's what I learned. What did you learn? And start a conversation that helps you continue to address the things you hide. We're so grateful, friends, that you were here. Thanks for listening. Tyler, thank you for sharing with us. So grateful for you, your friendship, and excited for this book launch. Leaders, keep leading well, and we will see you next time.